Gettysburg, probably the most famous battle of the American Civil War. Why that is could be because of the staggering number of casualties on both sides, the fact that the Union finally managed a huge victory against the South, on Pennsylvania soil where people from the North could see it, and that whole history written by the winners thing. Or it could just be because of this movie. As usual, pick up the big boy cannons from the armory. Tredegarrs, 24-pounders, and 20-pound Parrots, as well as about 1,500 CS Richmonds. Also grab the pack of CS Richmonds from the Reputation tab, just so the victory points don't go to waste. And I have more than enough Enfields at this point. So now, I'll cut to where I take care of the stuff. I've done the usual, like refill scrub units with rookies, everyone else with veterans, and selected the necessary perks. I've also rearmed the sniper units in 2nd Corps with CS Richmonds, as well as homogenized the cannons on a per-corps basis. So, here it is in all its glory. 3 full standardized corps, all with a full suite of specialist brigades, and a full scrub division at the bottom, led by a palmetto-equipped melee specialist. That said, all these other scrub units are becoming a bit unwieldy, what with them constantly getting a 2nd star that I don't want to spend money replacing. On the other hand, this game is just a few stages away from coming to a close. I'll come up with something suitable for them come endgame. Also, the sniper teams have all returned to their designated homes. Of course, the corps don't have identical gear to each other, but just the identical organization is enough to make me all happy in the logistics. I'll admit, this cost me fewer men than I was expecting, but replacing all those top-tier units and depleted cavalry with veterans was quite the expense. Which brings us to 4th Corps. I have arranged 14 brigades there, the 6,000-man brigades that have existed for a while now, and 8 new brigades, 4 more infantry, 4 new cannons. I'll explain why in a bit. We are invading the Union soil for a 2nd time after our latest consecutive successes on the battlefield. We hope to achieve a decisive victory that could end the war politically, but we also want to gather supplies for our army outside of the war-torn state of Virginia. General Hooker, leading the Army of the Potomac, began to pursue our army in Pennsylvania. However, his poor performance at Chancellorsville and his very cautious maneuvers eventually led Lincoln to suddenly replace him with General Meade. Although you have been ordered to avoid a general engagement with the enemy until we can fully assemble our army on carefully chosen ground, one of your division generals disobeyed that order by aggressively advancing to the town of Gettysburg. While most of our corps are operating too far away from the main army, we must now gather our forces and counter the Union threat at Gettysburg. You may notice some odd numbers in the allowed brigade values. This is a battle where I don't get to choose most of my own deployment of troops. Normally when that happens, I take units out of a corps and hide them in 4th Corps so that I can control what shows up. But in this case, I have all 3 corps in their default homogenized arrangement. That is because the numbers you see here are, sadly, not concrete. The amount of troops that actually arrive is a percentage of your total brigades, with the numbers shown here being the most that you can have arrive. Ish. Me taking out some of the brigades would just mean that fewer show up. Also, this is a multi-day battle, and extra corps can be thrown in come the later days. As such, 4th Corps will actually be able to play a role, although not in a way that I get to choose. If all this sounds confusing, then I recommend looking at the Steam guide for more details, which I've again linked in the video description. But to just make it as easy as possible, I have the max 24 brigades in all of my first 3 corps. If you do the same in your game, you should be okay. As for the stage itself, this stage is 4 days long, with multiple phases on all days but the 4th. As such, I won't bother drawing the borders and objectives all over this screen, as there'd be so many lines it would be less strategy and more interpretive art. One of the big things you'll notice during this stage is that a lot of the Union troops are a lot more resilient. A lot of enemy formations will fight almost all the way to the last man. However, to go with the big disadvantages of your army coming in piecemeal in a non-chosen style and better trained opponents, the advantage is that you can win the battle any time after Day 1 Phase 4 if you manage to take the relevant objectives. So is it better to finish fast or draw things out? I'll talk about that after the battle. One of your divisions is marching towards the town of Gettysburg in a reconnaissance mission. The Army of the Potomac pursues our army, and we need to scout the area for enemy movement. General Buford's cavalry is delaying our advance, and he seems determined to defend the ridges west of the town. Could he be supported by infantry? We must find out by attacking them. Forget that noise, I'm going south and around them. Bringing in 2 highly trained mid-range squads and the 1 poorly skilled scrub team, I'm going to bypass Buford's ambush entirely and get to the right side objective immediately. This is key to handling this stage with a good casualty rate. You have to get a force to this point and use the heavy cover of the surrounding housing before the 1st Union Division arrives. However, to facilitate that, I will be sending my scrub unit on effectively a suicide mission, having them occupy the woods here to fight off 4 combat teams and a small cannon battery. Throughout the course of this battle, it's a good bet that half of this unit at least will fall. So if you are following my strategy, make sure it's not a high-value unit being used in this role. Also, I find it appropriate that Lee himself is leading this battle. Give him a chance to see how this could have gone in alternate Historyville. The only other note to this short first phase is to point out that all of the defensive points available to you are pretty bad. The Union gets some really good ones in the woods here, so attacking these woods from the left is a bad idea. But we are going to handle that by making sure we have access to their south flank. Reynolds 1 Corps spotted. 1 Corps, led by General Reynolds, is marching towards our positions. The Iron Brigade is with them. It looks like they are charging me with a lone cannon, but don't fall for it. The rest of the division will spawn in right about... While that lone cannon will be able to shoot at me for a bit, the rest of that infantry is going to try and cross in front of me heading this direction, basically letting them get smashed by my already in position elite teams. And here comes the reinforcements. Have them move in full sprint to get to the side of the defenders to finally give my bait team, or shock troops, some backup. The cannons with them will slide in behind the battle line I've made for myself. Once the town is ours, we need to get the meat shields into the critical north-facing house terrain to take the continued brunt of Union attacks. 2 of the sniper infantry that just arrived will take up spots flanking them to provide support fire, with the last sniper team holding the left flank from any probing attacks. While I'd love to have the detachment finish their cannons, the next phase will result in another batch of Union troops spawning directly in the town. I need to get them back to their parent formation quickly. More Yankees reinforce. More divisions of one corps enter the fray. It seems that we have invited the whole Army of the Potomac. Thankfully, we'll get more reinforcements soon that shall enter the battlefield from this direction. The Unions seem to all be filing into the same general area just to the left of the objective. That's not going to end well for them come next phase. Your results may vary, but my set of reinforcements were 1 infantry and 4 cannons. I sent the infantry to expand the left edge of the line, and sent the cannons down to join the other batteries to focus my firepower in the area most under siege. While I have a spare second, I'll point out that the stage's objectives include a requirement to own 4 points, and then 1 more from a list of 5 others. The 3 on the map right now are 3 of the 4 required objectives, and the 4th starts under your possession anyway. This is what makes an early win possible. As long as you hold the 3 objectives on the map right now, then the instant you take a single other one at any point this stage, it's over. This clump of Union units is a great opportunity for the cannons to do huge damage. Have them fire at a target that is both in the open and in a group of other units for a lot of collateral damage to the other side. time to start the surround. I'll get my elite units on the left edge. They won't approach the Union's strong position in the woods, but they will prevent them from moving out of it. I'll worry about closing the trap come next phase. Really? They suicide rushed a supply wagon? Guess I gotta deal with that now. It's not really a big issue, just annoying. Howard's 11 Corps arrives. General Howard's 11 Corps has been spotted marching from the south. He appears to fortify Cemetery Hill. More of our divisions are coming down from the north. And the northeast. We can now prepare a powerful envelopment attack. Over the course of this phase, I'll get the troops in that are necessary to encircle the Union troops in the woods. Towards the bottom right, you can see the Cemetery Hill objective. If you take it, and the woods, before the phase ends, this 4-day stage ends on day 1. But more importantly down there, another dozen or so units have spawned in and will be heading for the town. So I will need to have enough troops in there to both encircle the North Union group and fight off any incoming forces from the south. To help with that, the units I have on the wood's west side are attracting some attention, giving my southern group time to readjust positions and prevent most of the Union from getting behind the 3 units I have in the town proper. Those 3 infantry in the town are 3 of my best. It's going to be a messy fight, and I'll have some expensive replacements after this round, but that's preferable to the Union breaking through and rescuing their isolated force. Also, I'll send my close-range cannons down to the town to provide support fire. Oh hey, reinforcements. It's my cavalry. Okay, not a great help, but I'll try and find something for them to do. Until then, they'll just set up at the map's south edge and look all tough. Ideally, their presence will prevent the Union from deciding to try and get into the middle of my close support cannon group. Big reinforcement coming in from the north. I want to place these at the north and east sides of the Union force to finish the surround. Reinforcements from the northeast now. Not a whole lot of them, and part of that is cavalry. Their job will be to just head south and cover the east edge of the town. Eventually. It's a long trip. The Union withdraws to Cemetery Hill. We must secure all ridges west of the town to consolidate our army in the vicinity of Gettysburg. If we succeed to capture also Cemetery Hill, we will decisively conclude the battle. Right as this phase starts, a chunk of the Union units around the woods will be given orders to head through the town to Cemetery Hill. With my units in the town rather busy, it falls to other units to interdict their movements. Once again, the Meat Shield Scrub team gets to take point. Though with the Union forces depleted, I can also send in some cavalry to assist. I didn't even need to make a full surround and squeeze. pure attrition warfare has effectively eliminated the Northern Union forces. Wrap things up here, and I can spend the rest of the day doing opportunistic damage to the remaining forces. Or, ending the stage entirely, but I'd rather not charge head first into Cemetery Hill's defenses just yet. There won't be any other surprises this phase, so I'll just drop into fast forward while I comb the... It's supposed to be bomb... You know what, that sounds cooler. While I comb them for the next hour. Proceeding to the next day. Yesterday we attacked and repulsed the Yankees, but they managed to stand their ground on Cemetery Hill, and now they hold a formidable defensive position which they reinforce as time passes. We have received more reinforcements this morning that are going to spearhead our next assault. From what we have observed so far, it appears that Cemetery Hill and Culp's Hill are too heavily fortified to attack. The Union left flank seems lightly defended, and this is where our 3rd Corps of reinforcements will strike after initiating a wide flanking maneuver unseen by the enemy. The rest of our forces will pin the defenders of Culp's Hill, while the Union left flank is getting attacked. If our plan succeeds, we can win the battle today. After several hours of fighting with the roads, our corps has found its way to attack the Federal left. We expect little resistance on Emmitsburg Road near this peach orchard, so a flanking attack should be an easy task. Yeah, sure. The enemy most probably has his forces along Cemetery Ridge. If we secure the ridges, we can claim victory today, as we will encircle the Union Army. In continuing to do what the IRL-CSA didn't, I will be all but ignoring the Peach Orchard. While the CSA did break through here in the real battle, the actual objective was Little Round Top, and all of the fighting, and taking, of the orchard and the wheat field didn't actually get them the hill they wanted. Add to that military historians debate how useful Little Round Top would have actually been, and, well, enough pontificating. My goal here is neither the orchard nor the hill. It's to continue to bleed the Union forces for a push to victory in a later phase. The Union are going to be rather dug in. Indeed, only a single Union unit will actually be moving this phase, and as long as I intercept and send him packing, I have free rein to maneuver as I see fit. I will be leaving a single skirmish detachment at the northern viewpoint to spot the Union battery, which is one of only 2 batteries they start the map with. I will be swinging all the forces I have to the south. My long-range batteries will deal with the Union North Battery, and my actual army will deal with the South Battery while occupying Little Round Top's big brother, Round Top. Look, people weren't clever with their naming conventions back then, alright? The goal is to take out as many cannons as possible, and get my infantry to the east edge of the map for a Phase 2 engagement. Secure the Round Top Hills. The Union has many more forces than expected. The rest of your forces are now ready to attack. If we breach the ridges south of Cemetery Hill, we will encircle the enemy and force them to withdraw from the battlefield. It is worth the risk to continue the attack. Both sides get reinforcements this phase. We get 3 brigades. The Union get 2 divisions to start, and several more divisions as the phase continues. Watch the army meter at the top, it's going to get way worse before it gets any better. As this phase starts, a lot of the Union troops will be leaving their positions to take up different ones. So I got the Peach Orchard for essentially free. This gives me the chance to move a mid-range team to the wheat field and punish anyone who tries to move south from Emmetsville Road to the Round Top Hills. And with the northern entrenched cannons having fallen right at the end of last phase, I can move up my central cannons to just behind that mid-range squad and shell anything and everything I want to on this map. I will also try and have skirmish detachments and dismounted cavalry take whatever vantage points I can to get as much spotting as possible for said cannons. So what is this phase's plan? Well, the 2 fresh mid-range cannons in the north will spend the entire phase bombarding whatever they see. The long range in the middle will do the same. An infantry with a detachment will sit at the north edge of Round Top and fire at anyone who tries to cross the open field between wooded areas. And everyone else is going to be moving to the right edge of the map, preparing an ambush. A sizable Union force will arrive when there is 250 left on the battle timer, and we are going to greet them. It won't be a full ambush like in previous stages. I don't have the brigade count for it, and whoever I place at the north edge of the ambush would have their backs to Little Round Top, and anyone that comes from the north portion of the map. So I will instead form a half surround at the entry point, with close support cannons and the 2 melee cavalry behind, and do whatever damage I can in the opening volleys while they retreat north to get away from it. I will then stack up my infantry on the map's edge and chase them north until I feel like the possibility of more damage is outweighed by the ever more exposed flank of the pursuers. Ideally, if I can do significant damage and eliminate all of the cannons that arrive, then the ambush is a total success, and I can then fall back and spend the rest of the map in bombardment, with maybe a unit or 2 trying to get some spotting or a precision backdoor raid against cannons or supply. And as much talking as that was, there's still a way to go before the ambush, so let's fast forward to the good part. I wonder what that supply wagon thought as it entered the battlefield right in the middle of 6,000 CSA troops. Rough estimate, but I think I got one battery, the wagon, took the other battery down to just 3 guns, and took out about 4,000 Union troops at the cost of about 500 of my own. And my cavalry even managed to spot an extra battery that they flattened as well. I think that's plenty time to turn around. And at this point, it's another boring, prolonged bombardment. Fast forward time again. seems that wrecked Union battery never left. May as well finish the job. Culp's Hill under attack. Most of the Union reserves have been engaged to defend their left flank. Culp's Hill is almost undefended. We can now move to attack the hill. Several of our brigades are fortified at Benner's Hill and seek for an opportunity to attack. The bulk of our forces are going to attack Culp's Hill from this direction. Most of the Union forces are engaged on Cemetery Hill and their left flank, so defenses are expected to be lighter now. Union reinforcements are surely going to arrive from this direction, so we must be careful. Cemetery Hill can also be attacked if we find a good opportunity. General, if we take either of those hills tonight, we can win the battle. Good luck. Don't pay any attention to the save game I'm taking here. I'm sure it's not foreshadowing anything at all. So, this is a whole map-wide massive surround, with 2.5 game hours to pull off. The phase intro wasn't wrong. The Union sent so many troops to the previous phase that we actually outnumber them right now, by quite a bit. That said, they had a lot of defensive spots with great stats, so I can't just rush in. On the right, a lot of scrub teams are in the fray now, and that's just what the doctor ordered. They, and the close-range and mid-range batteries with them, will press in from the east, taking advantage of the defensive spots that we actually get to use to engage the Union. Two sets of forces in heavily wooded defensive spots won't do much to each other, but they will occupy each other while the rest of my army does its thing. And that thing will be to use the south edge of the map. On the left, my sniper team will get the vantage point and fire into the first two lines of entrenched troops from a flanking position. On the right, my sniper squad will find everything they can in the back, preferably cannons, and snipe the heck out of them, while the cavalry over there just waits for a chance to run in and over any panicked, isolated units that flee south. My goal is to win the stage on this phase. Given my massive numerical advantage and the lack of Union defense at their southeast, I should be able to pull that off without too many losses. Due to the depleted Union forces, it won't make much difference in this map, but defensive corners like the one here have a major weakness. Whoever occupies them, sitting inside a fixed position, will tend to be facing outwards. But when those positions are back to back with each other, you can take long-range artillery, have it safely outside of the wall garrison's firing range, and fire over the heads of the frontliners and into the backs of the people guarding the other side of the line, getting some nasty rear-flanking morale bonuses to your attacks. If I was actually required to breach the Union's left side, instead of just sweeping through them from the southeast, that would be my go-to tactic. Well, my cavalry had their fun for this map, and my sniper team is hosing the lone remaining Union battery. Time for a fast forward while the remaining slog progresses. Well, there you have it. Despite the Union sending 10 generals worth of forces my way, I've secured Gettysburg, losing only 6,000 men out of 55,000, while the Union is down half of their 60,000 man force. I hope Lee was watching from his front row seat. No perfect leaderboard, but given that some units didn't get to fight at all, of course that's the case. I am going to have to refill a lot of expensive veterans, though. Officer list is rather impressive, though I do know some actually did fall. This list is only Day 2 results. A couple 20-pound parrots looted. That's nice. And tons of supply wagons. Well, the battle is over, so let's save the result. And then, I'm guessing most of you have looked at the playback bar and noticed that there's still a lot of video left. I'm going to return to the save I took and play out Day 2, Phase 3 more cautiously, doing all the damage I can, but not pressing into the objectives. Let's see what the rest of the map holds for us. Proceeding to the next day. The Federals still hold their ground. That was not expected. This morning, our troops have the strength to attack Culp's Hill one more time. We could end the battle if we take it. And given the low number of Union troops, that's entirely feasible. General, Culp's Hill may receive another attack this morning. If you think that it's not practical to assault here anymore, you may withdraw in about an hour so we can prepare for our next moves. A vastly narrowed down Culp's Hill is Day 3, Phase 1. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It plays out a lot like Day 2, Phase 3. If I want, I can just hold them in place with units in the defensive spots while more troops go around the southeast, which is what I'll do. I have a single skirmish cavalry this stage, and the bottom right defense point is within range of 2 enemy defense points. So this is an absolutely perfect time to demonstrate our skirmish cavalry can be useful if microed well. Let me just get them into position over here. So, it's real simple. Get an enemy's attention with a different unit, then have the skirmish cavalry come in from the side and fire. I mean, the devil's in the details, but from a conceptual standpoint, it's rather easy. After just a couple volleys, the defenders panic and fall back. I can now repeat the procedure with the other defenders. With all the defenders chased off, I can now move up the infantry to begin pressing them from all sides. The battle timer may look like I don't have nearly enough time for this, but this phase, that timer is just a suggestion. The actual phase draws out until 1100, and because it's that long, with me just sitting here bombing them but not taking the point, that means it's time to fast forward again. We have one more chance to attack their center. We have attacked their left. We have attacked their right. We have attacked Brandy Station. But still, they are not broken. The Union Army fought well and retains an excellent defensive position. All that remains is to try a frontal assault because forces have been drawn out of the center to cover the losses on their flanks. The last portions of our army have arrived today, and the fresh troops will lead the attack. Our general staff is worried that attacking their fortified center is a suicidal act. Nevertheless, we must try to gain victory today because we have the chance to completely destroy the Army of the Potomac. 4th Corps can finally be put to use now, and which of the two boxes you put them in actually matters come day 4. I put them in this box, but really that was because I didn't care about the upcoming results. If placed on the left, then on day 4 they will be on the field down here, and if placed on the right, then come day 4 they will be on the field up here. For now, they'll be right, well, here either way. General, we must use our artillery to soften their defenses along Cemetery Hill. Cemetery Hill is still guarded by Howard's 11 Corps, which had many losses on the first day. This hill is so highly fortified that it is not advised to attack here. Well, those two sentences seem to be at odds with each other. Cemetery Ridge is defended mainly by Hancock's 2 Corps. This section of Cemetery Ridge provides significant protection because of a stone wall. The angle of the stone wall appears to be a weak point because from there the attitude decreases southwards? The southern section of the ridge is full of open ground and can be a death trap for our infantry that may receive crossfire from left and right. We must protect our headquarters on Seminary Ridge if we want to keep our positions at Gettysburg. However, the Yankees are not expected to have the courage to attack us. General, we could claim victory if our charge is successful. Advance. I know that the whole idea is that the Union's forces must have been weakened, but LOL at this force disparity. So, the most famous battle in the American Civil War is Gettysburg, and the most famous action of Gettysburg is what we are looking at now, Pickett's charge. And of course, we aren't going to do what he did because we don't want to lose. I mean, the reasons he did what he did had some merit, but that doesn't change the fact that it was, in fact, suicidal. So, the north part and the stone wall are all defended by Union infantry, and the defensive positions are very good for them. At the south, there is no wall, but there is a valley with marsh in it that we'd have to cross, meaning any infantry down here could fire for huge effect on any of us trying to cross it. A shame the Union have very little infantry down here. Whether due to design or just the casualties the Union have suffered, there's only a single infantry brigade south of the stone wall, and it starts the stage by fleeing to the north. This leaves the only forces down here as cannons, and further, their forces only go as far south as this defensive spot, so this stage is actually way easier than Pickett could have imagined. All he had to do was move his charge a half-mile south. And, have the benefit of a thin yellow physics-splitting line stopping any reinforcements from the Round Tops from helping out. But that's the plan. If you want to win this stage, take a sizable force and swing them all down, around, and up the Union's backside. The objective will fall, and since you only need one to win, that's it. All of my other forces will just be bombarding the Union, or standing in front of the cannons to eat shots from the small number of Union cannons not found at the south edge. Also, at 15:18 on the clock, the Union gets a batch of reinforcements, mostly cannons, all at the south edge. So if you are looking for a good map to farm kills on enemy artillery brigades, this is it. And here's what I'd like to consider an insult to the player. A whole bunch of defensive positions we can occupy. Their bonus is pitiful. Anyone caught occupying any of these spots for any reason should have their general's license revoked. you'll see just how far away from the objective my guys are sitting, and yet it's already flipping to my side. This point has a very wide capture range, to the point where I could easily take it while hiding in the woods and housing. I mean, I'm not going to, but it is an option.
Since I'm not keeping this result anyway, let's do an experiment. How many cannon batteries can my cavalry find and destroy?
1. 2. 3. 4. 'Supply wagon. 5. 6. 7. 7 cannons! The rest of this phase is me bombing more stuff. So what does this button do again? The battle timer is over, but the phase will continue out to 1930, just for additional farming fun.
We failed, and the Union may counterattack. Yesterday it was a disaster. Our charge failed. The Battle of Gettysburg opened the grave for thousands of our brave soldiers who died for literally nothing. We have been defeated soundly, and the leftovers of our army are preparing for an orderly withdrawal. We noticed enemy movements showing that General Meade is going to counterattack. We have to secure our headquarters on Seminary Ridge and hold our ground. Although we face a large threat, we could steal victory if we sneak to Cemetery Hill while they are assaulting our positions. Our headquarters on Seminary Ridge must be protected at all costs. Day 4 is a single long phase, and it is basically a continuation of Day 3 Phase 2. The only major changes are that our forces have apparently pulled back, so that I have to move them forward again, and the map has expanded slightly southward, letting in a few more Union units that should be making a dash north. Well, okay, there's one other thing. That will happen at roughly 6:20 on the main clock, and make me wish I had 4th Corps in the other spot. Until that bit happens, though, have some more fast forward. So here's that other thing. A Union cavalry division comes in from the south. They are going to bring about a half-dozen cavalry and a few cannon brigades. If you know this is coming, and you should since you're watching this video, then you should have more than enough time to send infantry units down here and preemptively stage an ambush that can wipe them out entirely. I wasn't quite as prepared, so some of the Union cavalry swung around east and almost got to the north, but I was just in time to intercept them. As the day intro said, the Union have decided to launch some attacks, leaving their defenses and coming into the open field to meet me. So this final phase does give one more good option for farming Union casualties if desired. Anyway, thus ends the Union reinforcements. One more round of fast forward to get us to the end of this rather lengthy video. So, which is better, ending early or drawing it out? Let me put up the comparison here. Clearly, taking the extra days resulted in more casualties to my side. The Union as well, of course. Was this amount worth it? I'll leave it to you to decide. As I said, I'm taking the result from Day 2, Phase 3. That said, I will point out that Day 3, Phase 2 and Day 4 were very long engagements, and a whole lot of artillery bombardment was done the whole time. So in addition to deciding if the extra casualties, and the resulting gain and loss of weaponry, was worth it, there is one other thing in favor of the drawn-out option. All artillery will end up getting a ton of training. If I still had any batteries in the first 3 corps that weren't at least 2 stars, that may have tipped the scales for me. But that's it. The critical loss for the CSA has been turned into a victory in line with all of the Mousemaster's other huge victories. The Union can't hold out much longer. Can they? Stay tuned and find out.